Hello, my astrology friends. This is Lada from astrolada.com, and this is the 2025 marathon, predictive marathon, astrology marathon. But today we have vibrational revelations about the future, the year 2025, with my close friends, incredible professionals, esoterics, healers, Elena and Alejandro. Hello.
Hi, Lada. Thank
Hello,
you for having us. It's fun. I think it's become a tradition now.
People are saying, make sure you don't forget the vibrational revelations. We're waiting for them. We want. And it's been very correct. Last year, the energy was still very, when we read that there was energy of wars going on and continuing, and we're seeing that continue. And what's the most interesting thing about is that now we can compare vibrational revelations with astrology and see, do they correspond, the changes that you're seeing? Can you tell us a little bit what vibrational revelations are? And we'll start with the year.
Yes, thank you so much. I was going to say, I'm sure you have people that have never heard of us before. And I think it's important that we touch upon what it is that Alejandro and I have been doing, reading vibrational frequencies, levels of consciousness. So we've created a system using scalar wave technology to where we input information and we test, and we have tested thousands of people, events, places around the world, historical events that have occurred, and we find it absolutely fascinating of using it as a tool that guides us into having more clarity about nature of our reality, as well, I would say, as more peace, because it gives you the ability to tune in to something that is unfolding from a collective perspective or perhaps individual perspective, and gives you, at least for us, it's given us an ability to be somewhat detached and not so intensely attached to what is, because it gives you a peace of mind. So hopefully that, with that said, today we're going to give you some revelations for 2025. And
I remember, thanks to you, 2020 when it came, and I was freaking out. And yours, I was listening to your vibrational revelations every day for every person that you did, for every company that you did, for every institutions, and you basically were part of the awakening process because you showed the vibrational revelations of institutions and people who we have trusted all our lives, and you revealed the reality of them, and some of them that they were about destruction, absolute destruction of life. And that's what saved a lot of us who were following you from some dangerous things that we were supposed to take. So thank you so much for leading us through that period.
yes, thank you. We did reveal viruses during the whole pandemic. Uh, Also, some of the pharmaceutical companies, which, as we see, things are coming up to the surface now. And there's a lot of work that has to be done on a global scale to shift, but the shift can only happen when people wake up to realize that they hold the key and the power to make the changes in their own life and not rely so much on the external forces, whether it's corporations or governments, but have that deep knowing inner compass that will guide you through life. And the more you trust it, the easier it will be to flow through life.
Beautiful. And can you summarize what you what you think of 2025?
So we'll here, I mean, Alejandro, go ahead.
No, you please continue.
I think I've been speaking a lot at the moment.
No.
Well, before we can summarize what it is, I think it's important that we give you, I think it's over 36 categories that we will reveal today.
Oh,
And plus the activated emotions that are going to be predominant for collective, human collective consciousness, as well as we will go month by month breaking down the vibrational frequency of the collective. So it's not just looking at, people say to us, well, I don't live in Europe or I don't live in US. This is collective because we cannot separate our own individual selves from the collective and say, this is not going to impact me. We're all contributing to it, whether we like it or not. So the year 2025, would you like to start with the overall vibrational frequency and what it means?
I would like you to start.
You want?
Giving the
Okay,
hard
I'm the
job.
bearer of the
How about
news.
you grant me a wish?
Grant your wish. Okay. All right. So we're ending the year 2024. We've had our up, down, and now we're in this trajectory where this month, December of 2024, we're at a frequency of 175, which is the frequency of vanity, too concerned about what other people think, right, about how we're being. So moving into 2025, the energy of 2025 will be 150. And as previously we've talked about 150, and Alejandro and I have done revelations on previous historic events like civil wars, revolutions, world wars. This is the energy, the 150 energy. Okay. There's a lot of anger. And we'll talk about some other things, of course, but this is an overall vibrational frequency for human collective consciousness. And one thing I want to remind people that even though we have this frequency, there's a lot of light at the same time that is rising because we're being asked collectively to really look deep within. Something is definitely not working. And it's also important to remember we cannot keep blaming external forces for everything that happens in our life. This is an invitation to dive deep within and purge. So this is collective purge of whatever limiting beliefs you have, it's that have not been serving, whether it's anger at your parents, at your relationships, at your job, whatever your belief system is, this is an absolute collective invitation.
And out of most of the people, or most of the lifetime vibrational frequency analysis that we have done in the past 5 years, it show that when people reach the 150 mark, that most of the time represents like it catapults them and propels them to go and experience a higher frequency, out of that anger comes to, because that is a byproduct of also being uncomfortable enough with the same that hasn't changed, but that it could change. There is something better behind it or after it.
It's sort of
That
like shaking up to create
right,
chaos.
that same anger it leads you to search for more and try to figure out something. It's pretty much a breakthrough moment in most
So
cases.
it's better to be angry than to feel uh, hopeless because
Exactly.
And complacent.
yeah, even
Too
better.
comfortable in, let's say, in the fear, or too comfortable, which a lot of people tend to fall into that based on the AQ, the adversity quotient, which we'll dive into all of those frequencies as well. But in order for something greater to emerge, we have to shake up and create chaos in order for this metamorphosis to take place, right? The metamorphosis.
Can you remind me what was 2024 overall as a vibration?
175.
So we're going lower, 2025. Oh, so from pride, and now we're gonna get angry. So the time to shake up the salt.
Exactly. It's time to really shake
Right.
it up because things are not working. And you can see it's not working.
Yeah. Wow.
Yes. So now we're going to dive into, before we go into month by month, we'll just go through entire revelation for the collective, human collective consciousness. So now we're going to look into health. Again, we're not saying how healthy or unhealthy someone is, but this is looking into our relationship of how we connect to different aspects of who we are. So health overall, vibrational frequency is 175. And then health, we break down into 3 categories: connection to mind, connection to body, and connection to soul. So connection to mind is 175. So we have this prideful way, or in a way, I could say that there's an element of vanity connecting to the mind, that I know it all, I know it better. Connection to body is 125, which is this absolute desire of wanting to shift to a higher frequency, because we've been in this downturn in the last 4 years of where fear was triggered in relationship to our bodies. And we've seen so many people getting sick and things are just not working. There's lack of trust as far as trusting the government, trusting your medical providers, which is so unfortunate. But at the same time, there's this beautiful emergence of the few heroes around the world that are sharing the truth and speaking and really contributing in positive ways to scientific discoveries. So this 125 is the emergence of desire for change.
The unfulfilled desire.
Yes.
Right? And then it becomes a 125 like an addiction, an addictive personality.
And I will say that actually, thank you for that, because we're seeing during this, because of this connection to body at 125 and this addictive patterns, this is also the emergence of all these gadgets on the market that you're seeing. And so many people are now selling products that are giving you promise to make you younger, to make you feel better. But with that, there's a big red warning sign that just because of the promise, it doesn't guarantee you anything. And it's sort of like, there's products that give you a promise without really knowing what is happening at the very root of who you are. So my advice is always to have everything tested that is specific to your own unique vibrational blueprint, and not just go for the generic, well, I saw it on the, on the news, or I saw it in the ad and this is what works. So this is the caution with 125 connection to the body for collective. Connection to soul is 200. So we can see that based on the vibrational frequency revelation, on a deeper soul level, we are connected, but then we have some catching up to do with our mind and how we connect to our physical body. Finances overall are at a frequency of 100. So there's definitely an element of fear for the financial situation that is going to be happening in 2025. Was
it similar in 2024?
So that's what I want to look back into. Yes, it's actually the same. The frequency for finances is the same.
Would that mean that there won't be a big crash, or would it mean that maybe it stays similar?
I think based on this, I would say it stays similar. So we haven't looked at 2026, but 2025 and 2024 from a financial perspective is the same, but it's not really great because the prices have gone up. Most people can't afford just basic things. Mm-hmm. And that is absolutely so sad. I mean, we're seeing what's happening in United States. Gas prices are up, our groceries are up by 30-40%. It's really unfortunate where we stand as far as the finances.
And also, what we're reading perception in a way, right? In the collectively. So it's not necessarily that due to the situations taking place in 2025 that the aspect of finances will be vibrating at 100, because there is also a root element in it. There is also a factor that has possibly remained somewhat the same for so many years, because it is part of our belief system,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And even if there is improvement, people still feel fearful.
Exactly. But when you are faced with challenges and adversities, like financially speaking, especially when they're drastically impactful, that root cause or that emotion that has been parked for a long time, mm-hmm. in a long-term parking, without being nurtured and transcended and understood, arises to the surface, and that will contribute to the anger that we're going to be witnessing collectively.
Yes. Good.
Now, creativity. This is the part or the aspect that, looking back into the revelations that we've done over the years, that stays very much consistent from a human collective consciousness perspective. And that is the creativity aspect is 500. So it's a state of flow. And it shows, of course, that we are creative beings. And perhaps also next year and in the last couple of years, there's going to be more and more inventions that are happening. And we're seeing that with the emergence also of technologies, AI, health, different aspects of how we can improve one's health. There's so many different aspects of how humanity is contributing to the creative aspects of who we are. Now, relationships, overall vibrational frequencies 200, which is courage, and relationships to self is 200, and relationship to others is 150. So there's this element of anger again that is being shown as far as how we relate to others. And this actually aspect has not changed since 2024. So it's showing that it's still very much present. So again, this is an invitation, even though we're giving you these numbers and revealing information from a collective angle, this is an invitation for each and every one of us to look deep within and see, how do I relate to other people in my life? Are there triggers that really make me angry? And remember, the triggers are invitations to heal deepest wounds that exist and have existed from generation to generation, because it's not really serving any longer. So if we really want to shift collectively, we have to shift individually.
Beautiful.
Now we'll go into personal growth. Overall vibrational frequency for personal growth is 700. So it's this relationship of illumination. On the path to enlightenment, this is something that collectively we're all seeking. And this is a number that really has not changed much since the collective revelations that we have been doing. So again, we're guided by a divine force, unseen force that is unfolding and reminding us of this divine light that exists regardless of what frequency we're all in. And look at the frequency. The overall frequency for collective is 150, but there is a divine hand that plays a role in all of it and reminds us to keep walking this path, even though it could seem very challenging.
Get better, to improve out. That's, you call it self-improvement. Yes. Or
Yes. Yes.
so this is so deeply seated in us and so high vibration. It amazes me, because this is, if anything would change the collective vibration of humanity, it's this. If this big percentage, the creative side and the desire to keep improving.
Yes.
One day we'll pull the other numbers up.
And this is something we see, you know, if you're on social media or you turn on YouTube channel, how many people are talking about personal growth and ways to improve yourself? This is something that was not common 10, 15, 20 years ago. And now you're seeing it more and more and more, and it's showing up through these numbers.
It's the biggest engine for us now, this number.
Exactly. Intuition. So again, we're not looking at how intuitive we're collectively, but what is the filter that gets activated when information comes through. So the overall filter for intuition is the frequency of 200. And now we break it down into 4 aspects of intuition: the clairaudience, clairsentience, clairvoyance, and claircognizance. Clairaudience is 175. So again, we're hearing things and we think we know it, right? It's this prideful way of connecting to it. Clairsentience is the frequency of 200. It's where we feel it deeply in our body. Clairvoyance is 250. So it could become, you know, when you're in a state of 250, which is the state of observation, it could become also a place of complacency. But in this case, it's the higher vibrational frequency as far as intuition. So we tend to trust our visions more collectively. And claircognizance, our inner knowing, is the frequency of 200. So we have this courageous approach to pay attention to the information that comes through. Do you want to go and continue next with the IQs, intelligence?
Yes, and everyone has access to the same information, to source, to where to the central intelligence in a way, right? Or divine intelligence. Everyone has access to the same information. It just depends on how or where you're focusing your attention to. And that activates that information.
Mhm.
And that is how we experience different emotions and we perceive life in a different way. So it doesn't mean that everyone, we'd like to repeat this again, that because the human collective is experiencing the level of 150, it doesn't mean that we're all going to be witnessing people running or walking like crazy, anger, screaming on the streets, you know? But it means that that emotion of anger is very active in the field, that a lot of people are accessing it and are focusing their attention on
Mhm.
this emotion. So that's why it's very active. And
I'm
it makes
going on social media, I get angry. I can't.
right.
With the
Yeah,
comments, with people fighting.
exactly. You can see it there, right? Often they make so many remarks that are uncalled for, and they have nothing to do with the subject at hand. They just want to. They find a way or a vehicle to express their anger, right? And often also we hear that people say, "Oh, this person made me angry." And we might be saying that a lot in 2025 collectively, right? This person or that race or that religion or that political party or whatever that is,
Pointing
that it
fingers.
is not exactly on the same page as we are, let's say, as of how we perceive the other side. We're going to say that person makes me angry because they voted for this political party, right? Or they're cheering for this soccer team. But actually, the anger wouldn't get activated if it wasn't already active.
Yeah.
If it was so that when that happens, we have to first, instead of blaming the other person, we actually should be grateful that the other person served as a catalyst to let us know that I do have to pay attention to that emotion because I created, I activated it, and I am holding it as on the forefront of the files that I access on a daily basis to when I interact with people, when I think of life in general, you know?
Well, saying you said the religions, beliefs, and astrology says exactly the same, because Saturn, the planet of difficulties, division, testing, is in Pisces, and it becomes extremely powerful this year because Pisces is the sign of religions, different cultures, and Saturn joins there with the North Node, which is extremely magnifying influence, which is a sign from when people will be separating according to beliefs and religions and races even, because Pisces rules foreigners, people that are different than us, and Saturn then makes us even more cut off and like black and white only, rather than, feel we're all one. So this has really enhanced the division of religions and beliefs and nationalities in 2025, like you said.
Makes sense.
Yeah, and that division comes only from the lack of knowledge of who we truly are, and that's the right. And as scarcity triggers at fear, which is the root of all the resistance that we experience, is sort of like the trunk of the tree, and all the other negative emotions, so-called, are the branches of that tree, right? So when it comes to how we react it's extremely important now more than ever to be aware of what is being triggered and investigate it to find a way to diffuse it, to disempower it, right? Without having to blame other people, because at the end, we're all the same. We're all aspects of the same.
And that's the high vibration of Pisces. We're all the same, we're one, we're part of divinity. But Saturn is a separating planet, planet of fear. And we're feeling more like, oh, they're Christians, they're Muslim, they're Jewish, or whatever, their skin color. And it's very enhanced now. Racism even is enhanced, xenophobia of all sorts. And next year, like you're seeing it in the vibrational numbers.
Right, right. Yes, is the further away we are from experiencing our true selves, the more we're going to experience division, and the more we're going to blame our neighbors and everyone else that is not dancing with the same rhythm or the same rhythm than we are, right? And instead of looking back and try to reconnect so we can feel, because the closer we get to experience our true selves, our inner being, our higher self, the less likely we're going to be to point fingers and blame the outer world for the struggles that we're experiencing.
This is why it's important to look at your limiting beliefs. What are they?
Yes.
Because they're not you.
Right.
Your religion is not you.
They're just thought patterns, information overall, right? And that's when we can exercise our free will and decide what information we want to activate and incorporate in our lives or in our journeys. Now we're going to percentages. And this is
IQ. You haven't done it.
Oh, you left me the IQ.
Yes.
Oh, thank you. Intelligence quotient, IQ, is 175. So it's, again, it's related to the filter that gets activated when we process the information, and how comfortable we feel when that happens. In this case, at 175, there's a lot of resistance there, and that filter indicates that we think we know it all, and there's nothing to prove to anyone. No one can teach us anything. I know exactly what's happening. Sort of similar to the energy that was being experienced in 2024 collectively, right?
And this is why we can't hear one another collectively.
Right. And then you go into all these things are happening that they collectively we feel that we're out of control, is not moving the way we want them to move. So then we go into we drop to anger. And that's what we are going to experience
shouting,
in 2025,
screaming.
right? It's your fault. That's the reason why, but it doesn't end there. Now, when it comes to emotional quotient, EQ is 150.
Mm-hmm.
The EQ is the most powerful one out of the four, we can say. And at 150, that means that we're going to be reacting out of anger.
And also we rely too much on the IQ, the information. So it's like we will not be able to hear each other. The division, as Lada said also earlier,
Exactly.
is going to be amplified.
Right.
Because we're not going to be trusting the heart center. We'll be more in our head space, in our brain space, which is I know it all. And the heart is going to be closed.
That goes back to what Lada said about religions, religious beliefs, right? Oh, no, this is it. I know this is the only thing you need to study or pay attention to, and the rest, they don't know what's going on. They have no idea of what they're doing. And the 175 will definitely be activated there, right? And if the EQ is at anger, then it creates more resentment.
Yeah.
Now, SQ, social quotient, is also at 150.
This is how we interact with each other in social settings.
They'll be pointing your fingers.
Anger. I feel like, again, we don't know astrology that much, but I don't know, what comes to me is like this Aries energy of like confrontation that can come through.
We have 2025 is so big in astrology now. We're all talking about it because we're going to have like a very rare conjunction of Saturn and Neptune in Aries, the 0 degree Aries. And that's why a lot of astrologers are worried of Third World War and whatnot, because that's exactly the Aries energy that you're feeling. And
Mhm.
it starts a cycle of 35 years where people will be militarizing themselves and countries. And yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, afraid of being invaded by others, possibly, huh?
Or thinking they're better than others too.
Adversity quotient, the AQ, is at 175. So this 175 is being experienced in different areas. Now we go into percentages. It's about how much we're enjoying the role that we're playing in this reality, collectively speaking, and it's 62% out of 100.
Not that much.
In the ego, so how much we pay attention to the known, right? That which we have already experienced, or we feel that is the information that we trust because it's known to us, is 98%. So the higher that number, the less likely we're going to be to stop, acknowledge that which is coming, but at the same time realizing that and being open to allow the information to flow, to pay attention to our intuitive insights, right? Our inner voice. We just because we're in experience so much resistance that we have to attach to the known, and we're not only attached to the known, but we're afraid of the known, and we're even more afraid of the unknown. Yes. So it makes it more difficult to pay attention to your inner voice, to your inner guidance. Now, within ego, we have two types of ego. Is the inferior version of the ego and the superior version of the ego. In this case, is 100% in the inferior, which is, again, not enough.
This victim consciousness is going to really play out on a big
Victimization
scale
mentality, yes.
next year, 2025.
100%.
Mhm.
And that stems from pointing fingers, right? And blaming the other side for what we're going through. Now, next is in the now. So how much are we going to be present, or or maybe thinking about the past or thinking about the future, but not activating resistance, I would say, right? Not necessarily being in the present moment to where, because everything happens simultaneously. So it's, for me, it's more about how much time you're going to spend without activating resistance, fully engaged in the things that inspire you, that motivate you. Yes. And it's 57%. So we're going to be thinking about rather the past or the future, or even the what we're currently experiencing, activating resistance or anything. Yes. Self-awareness is 58%. Clarity, as of how clear our vision is of what is taking place, is 83%. Integrity, this is how loyal and faithful we are to our core values and beliefs, is 80%. So that anything below 90%, then you start seeing lack of integrity at play, right? And that stems from fear, mostly the fear of not knowing what to do, and then I have to take care of myself, or and therefore there's no better opportunity than to bend my own rules in order to keep myself safe, right? Or at least gain the sense of safety. Now, integrity to self, with oneself, with our own beliefs, how loyal we are to that is 85% out of the 80%.
It's also betraying our own selves.
Yeah.
Right? So you're bending your own rules and for the sake of creating the sense of safety.
Illusion of safety.
Illusion of safety. And integrity to others or with others is 75%. So a little, lower than towards ourselves or with ourselves. Now, alignment with divine purpose. This is one of my favorite numbers. This is how well we're playing the divine role that we decided to play in this reality.
And from a divine perspective, are we meant to go through what we're going to go to in 2020?
Exactly, because it's all about growth and expansion, right? With having joy as a goal, to enjoy the journey more and more. And its alignment with divine purpose collectively for 2025 is 93%.
So we're meant to go through whatever is going to unfold next year.
Yeah, to wake us up, possibly one way or another. Alignment with personal purpose is 94%. How was it?
Right track, kind of.
Last year it was
93%.
And divine purpose or 2024?
Is 93% this year and 94% last year.
Okay.
So do you ever see events or developments that are really low of alignment with one's divine purpose? Have you seen,
Yes.
like, what would that mean? That it was not meant for them? Or like Epstein? Or what? He was born.
Probably, or they were not, perhaps, we always have a choice, right? Every day we wake up, we have a choice of which path we're going to take. It's sort of like a fork in the road. So it depends on the frequency you incarnate and you're born at. So for example, someone that is born at a very high frequency and lives out their life at a very low frequency, so most likely they're not aligned with their divine blueprint. So in that way, it will show up. But
collectively, we're pretty much where we're supposed to be.
Yeah, we're going through a temper tantrum. That's the only way I can explain it. It's like we're not getting it. And seeing the events that have unfolded in 2024, I would say we're still not getting it. And this is why I'm saying it's an invitation right now. Make a list on daily basis. What are your triggers? What are your top 3 limiting beliefs on every day? And see where they're coming from. Are they coming from programming that you've inherited through your parents? Whether it's hate towards another race, another religion, your belief of why you shouldn't go to a certain place or a certain culture might be very drastically different than you. Why do you have negative belief systems around that? This is an invitation to break free from that.
Or else.
Or else. Or else.
You invited or else. Third World War.
Yes.
Yes.
All right. So now
Hold on
finish the percentages.
When you gave me the phone, you gave it to me like this, and this is what I was reading.
No, this was correct. All right.
The numbers are here. Yes.
Okay. So in the now was 53%. Let's just go through that. Self-awareness was 52%. Clarity, 79%.
A little bit less clarity.
Less, yeah, this was the other year. Integrity overall, 75%. Integrity to self, 83%. Integrity to others, 71%. So there's actually a difference between last year and this year. We're going down, so there's going to be a lot more betrayal. Alignment with divine purpose actually is higher than last year. It's at 99%.
Well, so it's really we're supposed to
We're supposed to go through this.
Yeah, somehow when she passed me her phone,
It
she
was last year.
left the 2024 numbers on it. And I'm thinking,
But it's okay. We just reviewed the
thinking, okay,
2024.
this doesn't look, but okay. So I continue because I have 225 on in front of me. I apologize. I assumed that she handed me the right year, but somehow your phone did something there. Well, so we stopped at alignment with divine purpose, 99%, and that goes in line with what you asked earlier. If we have experience of seeing any events, are 100%, right? And we are almost at 100% when it comes to the overall experience that is taking place in 2025, frequency-wise. And when it comes to alignment with personal purpose, is 93%. Yes. Now, compassion. The numbers, what is 2024 in compassion? So I don't have that here with me.
Compassion was
Okay.
95%.
So it's 95% in 2025 as well. And compassion to others, 91%. What do you have in 2024?
91%.
Okay, so those numbers remain the same. Empathy in 2025 is 95%. What do you have in 2024? Same? Okay, good. Now, energy purity is 95%. And this is just letting you know how much we're embodying the energy that represents when experiencing the overall frequency of 150 for the human collective, right? That's the overall frequency. So once we hit the 100% mark at 150, that means that we're ready to experience the next level up.
Yeah.
Going from anger to pride or vanity at 175. Now, when it comes to dimensions, we measure how much we are experiencing the fifth dimension collectively in 2025 will be 11%. What was it in 24?
It was 21%.
Okay, so it was higher, 24.
We gotta go down to go up.
Back to 3D.
Yes. And now currently activated emotions collectively, where the information that is going to be most activated and accessed on a daily basis in 2024 will be guilt, panic,
Wow.
fear, worry, horrified, anger, and the feeling of being unsafe.
Wow. Wow.
Yes.
So those are going to be the predominant emotions.
Predominant emotions, the most activated one, and we'll see signs of it.
You know what I
media,
was
the
going to
news.
say that because I gave him the phone with 2024 numbers, the IQ stays the same, 175. EQ went down from last year. It's at 100. SQ 100 and AQ 100. So there's definitely fear. Fear and anger are going to be at the forefront of 2025.
I mean, that mix with fear and EQ, and then AQ, and then SQ.
So lack of trust
combined
also.
with yes, with
Lack
the
of-
overall frequency of 150, that's like a recipe for chaos.
And now the numbers will go month by month of 2025. January, we're starting off with 175, this false sense of security, vanity, pride.
February is 165, which is anger still, right? 150 all the way to 174 is still anger.
Now, the big change that's going to happen is going to start in March. And March is the frequency of 150. And we'll give all the numbers, and then Lada can give us feedback as far as what astrology shows. But March, from what we saw, was the first point of big change. And then April, it's 150. May, it's going to be at 150. June, 150. July is the second change, major change that's going to occur, and that's 100. This is where collectively we're going to drop into worry and fear. And we're staying there in August, September, October, November, it's going to go back up to 150, and December 150. So the two major dropping points are March and July. So maybe, Lada, you can touch up on that and let everyone know.
Yes, and this 150 real quickly has a lot to do with resentment.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that also has anger in it, obviously, right? But
The war vibration, isn't it?
uh-huh.
This is crazy because astrologically March is exactly when there is the most difficult astrological alignment the whole year. Saturn, Neptune in Pisces, retrograde Venus in Pisces, retrograde Mercury in Pisces, and an eclipse at the same time, also on the axis of Pisces. So we have 5 planets, 6 together, in very difficult, with the most difficult planet, Saturn. And I was saying already on all my videos, something is happening March. I'm not sure what, but that's when we have to be most careful. This is the most dangerous month, so to speak. I was wondering, will it be some water, because Pisces is involved, some water catastrophe, or would it be something to do because Pisces is collective grief of some sort? I don't know. And collective karma that has built up and gets released, because Pisces is the last sign. And even though it's the most high vibrational, its lowest vibration is like karmic retribution. And then in July is the other big event astrologically in 2025, which is the Saturn Neptune conjunction for the first time in 35 years at 0 degrees Aries. They come almost together then, and it's change of whole systems, governments, but the exact is also in 2026. You haven't checked it, but February 2026, this repeats even more intense. And also July is when Uranus moves from Taurus to Gemini. The last time Uranus moved from Taurus to Gemini was the Second World War. And the previous time before that was the American Civil War. So
wow.
these two events in July are happening astrologically that we're all like, what is going to happen? We're watching. Last time Saturn and Neptune were together, the Berlin Wall fell down, for example.
That's the year I came to United States, and Alejandro did too. Collapse of the Soviet Union actually happened, right, at that time.
Happening with big orders, governments changing. And before that, we had Saturn, Neptune. I can't forget the intermediate one, but at the end of the Second World War, but before that was 1917. And it corresponds very often, Saturn, Neptune, also with disease, and especially in Pisces. That's what we have to be careful, because Pisces rules the lymph and the immune system, and that's another thing I might be worried about. In Aries, it might be either more towards war, because Aries is a warlike sign, but also the emergence of new political systems. But they're also Saturn and Neptune together. When they come together, I've looked back, we astrologers have looked back, pandemics, not every time they come together, which is every 36 years, but like the Spanish flu happened with Saturn, Neptune. I've looked back at plagues and other such dysentery and big ones, and they had most of the time Saturn, Neptune conjunction. I hope that's not it. But the real happens at February 2026. So, but there is powerful activation in March of this conjunction already. And then in July, and Uranus moves in Gemini in July. So yeah, you kind of vibrationally saw the biggest events without knowing any astrology. Those 2 months are the most important.
Yes.
Oh, wow. Yeah, somehow it came to me a couple years ago, at least, that in 2025, because people were asking about what happened during the pandemic and the numbers that we shared and all this stuff. And if anything is going to happen soon, and it just, for me, I felt a strong resonance that in 2025 we were going to be experiencing another pandemic.
That's what comes to you. You feel that it's linked to that?
I said that we'll say, oh, it's going to happen. Another one is coming because there were other viruses that they detected not only in the US but also in Latin America. And I thought, oh, here we go. They're already it's already planting seeds, right? But and I went to South America a couple of times, and I said I have to take care of this now because I feel that if I don't do it now in 2025, it's going to be it could be in any given moment we could experience what we experienced during the times of COVID, where you're restricted from traveling or
And what was the vibration of health? It was very low number, you said overall.
So for 2025, let's revisit this because overall 175.
That's
Well, connection to body is 125. That's why I said that it's seeking to improve one's health, but again, it's looking in the wrong places. So right now, because I'm in medicine, I'm a medical provider. So there's two areas we need to look at very carefully. And that is, yes, we have the pharmaceutical industry that is bombarding us with, giving so many medications, and many people are aware of it, but there's a huge majority of population that is not. People think that they have a deficiency in Lipitor in their body, which there's no such thing. Ozempic is big on the market. Everybody's using that. So that's one side. The other side is these natural healing modalities, which people are being bombarded with, which I call the false promises. And they're also escapism. It's from gadgets that promise to, you push a button, all of a sudden you're promised to be healed, to herbs that actually don't really do much, but people spend a lot of money on. So that's feeding into this 125 frequency as well. So you have to really become an educated consumer and really learn about your body. This is an invitation to start trusting your body, what you're eating, what you're consuming, whether it's pharmaceuticals or herbs. It doesn't mean that it's one or the other. There's something else that has to emerge.
but also that you have to be an active participant in the process, right? Not necessarily climbing a mountain to feel better physically, but changing your thought
Mindset.
process and obviously often changing your diet, right? And in order to contribute.
That's the first thing.
Yes. Then just taking one pill that is going to solve it all. And that's a 125, an unfulfilled desire of experiencing something better, but without being willing to participate in the process and knowing that, yes, you change your thought process, you feel that, oh, this thing is going to cure me, the placebo effect to be playing a role. But if you don't change the things that are bringing your body, your physicality out of balance, eventually it is going to create a snowball effect, and symptoms are going to scream a lot louder, and things are going to get more complicated if they're not addressed properly as the root. You don't address the root cause. That's just the way it is.
So is the
right?
lifestyle. Do you
Yes.
have anything like natural cataclysms, weather? Maybe you should add so we can, because the other side of all the Pisces conjunction in March, and it might be also something connected with Pisces rules the might of nature and the oceans.
We actually didn't look at that, but we could.
Yes, that would be nice.
We didn't think of that because we didn't know it's related to
Investigate.
Pisces
Well, because
astrologically.
crazy conjunctions next year that are very important, that will change the direction of the world, and in 26 as well. That's why I'm like, it's going to be natural, it's going to be man-made.
But
You know what we can actually do, if I may, real quickly, is using if you can provide us with that information as of when the conjunctions are taking place, and then we can dive in and look at many factors to
Finances, is it weather, is it
exactly.
okay.
Yes.
That's a great idea. We'll do it.
Yes. Yes.
Fine.
Yes, send us a list and then we'll be able to
Yes,
navigate.
I'll
Because
send
we're not
you
looking at astrology, but I think it makes sense to look at it.
Uh-huh. Yeah, definitely, because that is without a doubt has proven to cause some sort of imbalance or adjustment or shift, right? One way or another, rather is due to the financial markets, due to the weather, due to wars, pandemic, something always shows you that it is that conjunction is at play, influencing.
But you know, if there's
people.
for example, a cataclysmic event, it would make sense that the side effect of that would be some kind of pandemic, because diseases will be on the rise.
Oh, let's
If
hope.
there's, you know, no sanitary conditions, no, I'm just saying that that could also be a part of it. But it would be important if you gave us a list to look at some options and months, and then we can.
Yes, definitely. That will be
There is
helpful.
2 or 3 big events, and you, without knowing astrology, you saw them March and July. So, but we'll check.
Okay.
That would be interesting. And can you say if people want to find you, where to watch you, how to connect with you?
Yes, you can go on vibrationalrevelations.com. This is where all of our videos are. And actually, we have a special going on right now for $111 a year. It's a library of over 200 episodes now. And then we go live now once a month as well and have live discussions in our community. So that's a great way to find us. You can also go on YouTube and find our channel there, where we once in a blue moon post the episodes as well. And then we're running also a special with Lada 100 code, to where if people are interested in getting their vibrational frequency analysis done, it actually comes with a 34-page PDF
36.
now, 36-page PDF report. So it's very much in depth, and it helps you break through your own limitations. Knowing where you stand is very important, especially now more than ever, moving into 2025.
I love mine. I'm still listening to it from time to time, because back then it was, you talk to me.
Back then we did video, which people have the option to upgrade if they want to talk to us. But if they just want the report, Alejandro has created this incredible PDF for people to also go deep and have so much explanation in there.
Yeah, you see your strengths and you see where you suck. I've been working on.
You know what? It's all important. It's what makes you who you are. And some people are afraid of knowing that. But I think, you know what? Without knowing and meeting yourself through every angle, you're not going to shift. So have the courage and do it. And we promise you, it's very gentle and loving.
Yeah.
Like both are. Thank you so much. By the way, both Elena and Alejandro and Pisces. Can you feel this Piscean mystical aura, philosophical inclination?
So hopefully next year for us it will be okay, because you just said there's all these planets in Pisces.
Well, Saturn is there. It's been there for a year, but it comes, especially the very late Pisces.
We're early.
So from the 15th till the 30th, till the 20th of March, Pisces, they would feel it the strongest. The others had already.
Yeah. I'm the February one. He's the March.
March 17th.
I'm
All right. Something very important is happening there for you.
Is it like not necessarily?
It's all good.
I'm just going to be impacted, but not necessarily bad or good or bad, right?
Oh,
Depends on the perspective.
On a personal level, you're going to have Saturn transiting there. You might have a lot of work, for example, or you might, Saturn is about doing something hard that requires limiting and saying no to other things because you're focused on some grand work or some, people with high vibration do the most important work with Saturn transits. People that are not, they're still, let's say, a bit more gentle, younger souls, they might feel smashed by Saturn, because Saturn puts limitations, demands, usually some authority is pushing you towards something. But if someone is very self-organized and responsible and mature, Saturn is like the time where they do the most important work. So
Oh, nice.
The work you've been working on. He's been working on it.
That's wonderful.
you have 1 year to perfect it and release it.
That's right.
Thank you
Wonderful.
so much,
It's always a pleasure.
puppy.
This is Lima.
Lima, oh, it's so beautiful. Thank you so much for joining,
Thank you so much.
for depressing us, plus giving us.
No, inspiring to create the change from within.
I'm kidding.
Right, so we're not surprised, right? Now we're aware of the things that we might be witnessing or experiencing. So now just understand that it's all information, and we have the power to transcend, and we have the power to shift our focus of attention to have a totally new or better and improved experience.
And I say this is a good time to plan. So if things are not working out in your life, get rid of things.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
That's it. Minimize. It's all about minimizing
Don't
it.
throw your husband out the window, take your time.
If you want to be okay, stay creative and try to improve yourself. These were the two highest vibrations to be tap into. Thank you so
And
much.
believe in the divine force, because we're always
It's
guided.
meant to be. It's, what was it, 99%?
Exactly.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you, dear. Okay.
Thank you.
Pleasure.
Bye.
Bye.